Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into something really profound, something that literally surrounds us every single day. But, we almost always just walk right past it. We're going to be unpacking some insights from our source text, Birinci Söz, to really explore the grand design behind nature's systems. Because normally we look at nature, right? But we rarely stop to think about how it's actually communicating with us, or how those massive silent gears just keep turning. So in this analysis, we're going to decode that hidden, magnificent language of the natural world. Let's just jump right in.
Okay, I want you to mentally place a tiny seed right in the palm of your hand. Look at it. It's incredibly small, completely silent, and honestly, it looks utterly powerless. So how in the world does this little seed eventually transform into a massive tree? We're talking about something carrying branches that weigh actual tons, along with thousands of leaves. Right? If there isn't a hidden, flawlessly operating system at play here, this transformation happening all on its own is literally impossible. It's not just biological growth, guys. It's an absolute marvel of engineering. I mean, just think about it for a second. A single seed carries the intricate, massive blueprint of an entire tree. That is a staggering example of data storage and execution. That tiny little seed quietly goes underground and essentially becomes a massive factory. And this silent transformation points to a really profound mystery. How do things in nature actually communicate their purpose? Trees don't have brains, they don't have project offices or boardrooms. And yet, each one flawlessly executes this incredibly complex blueprint they've been given. No mistakes.
And that actually brings us to a super fascinating concept from our source material. It's called Lisani Hal. The text suggests that all beings speak in their own language, a language of disposition. But, what does it actually mean? Well, it means showing a truth without speaking, using only actions and natural disposition. So these silent beings are actually speaking quite loudly. Through the sheer perfection of what they do, they show they aren't just acting randomly. No, they're operating under a much higher permission and power. And honestly, understanding this completely shifts how we view the natural world.
Because think about it, trees don't have vocal cords. Aside from the rustling of leaves in the wind, they don't make a sound we can hear. However, as the author of our source text points out, the fact that they flawlessly execute tasks so far beyond their own physical power, that's evidence that they act with divine permission and power. The author interprets these silent monumental actions as nature's way of saying Bismillah, basically acting in the name of a higher creator. So they are speaking, just not with words, they're speaking with their actions.
And consider the immense, striking contrast we see in nature. On one hand, you have roots that are as soft as silk, incredibly delicate, super thin. But on the other hand, you have hard rocks and heavily compacted, solid soil. Logically, it's physically impossible for that soft root to just pierce right through solid rock on its own. The root itself simply doesn't possess that kind of structural strength. But, reading this through the lens of their actions, we understand that this delicate root penetrates the rock not by its own raw power, but through the immense permission and strength of the system it belongs to. It acts as if it's equipped with this, like, invisible armor.
We can actually continue exploring this macro narrative with another astonishing contrast. Think about fragile, thin green leaves. They're so delicate they can easily tear in the wind, right? Yet they stand up against months of scorching summer heat. I mean, under normal circumstances, those leaves should instantly wither and burn up under that blazing sun. Yet they remain vibrant and green for months. They even use that intense sunlight to produce food. The ability of these fragile entities to not just survive but perfectly function under conditions that should absolutely destroy them, it just highlights how precise and magnificent that unseen design truly is.
And this principle, it doesn't just stop at trees. It scales up into larger ecological miracles across the entire natural world. Take a cow, for instance. It consumes plain green grass, but what it produces is pure white milk, this perfectly balanced, highly nutritious food. Or picture a garden. It has the exact same soil, the exact same water, and the exact same sunlight. Yet, from those identical base materials, you get a sweet red apple, a sour yellow lemon, and a juicy watermelon. Completely different, flawless designs are being produced from the exact same ingredients. So I want to ask you a very direct and profound question here, and I'd really love for you to think about it. Do the soil, the water, and the sun actually know the exact, perfect flavor of the fruit you're eating? Does mud or water possess intelligence? Do they have a mind or the engineering blueprint required to calculate your taste buds, your need for sugar, or your exact vitamin requirements? Of course not. They are just mediums. So if these elements don't know what they are making, where is this flawless blueprint of taste, color, and smell coming from? The crucial point really lies in a simple comparison between mindless causes and complex outcomes. When we look at things like water, soil, and the sun, none of them have a brain. They don't have consciousness or a deliberate purpose, but when we look at the results they help create, we see brilliant color coordination, perfect taste, captivating smells, symmetrical design, and exact nutritional value. It is logically impossible for those unconscious, mindless elements to deliberately coordinate and produce those miraculous, highly conscious outcomes on their own. There is just this massive gap between the cause and the effect.
When interpreting this scene, our author arrives at a single logical conclusion. The flawless operation of these unthinking elements is clear evidence of a grand, coordinated, and incredibly merciful design operating behind the scenes. Every single element in nature is working like an official, a vessel for that greater compassion and power. Within this grand design, beings aren't just acting on their own behalf. They are moving in the name of the architect of that massive system.
Let's bring this vast philosophical and scientific concept right down to your own daily life, right to your dining table. The next time you sit down to eat, I want you to try this. Hold a piece of fruit in your hand. And yes, the hard work of the farmer, the transportation, the grocery store, these are all super valuable intermediaries, and we should definitely be thankful for them. But try to look beyond that. Notice the grand design and mercy behind its creation. Think about how the sun, the water, and the soil were all mobilized just to create that specific piece of fruit for you. Doing this actually transforms an ordinary meal into a universal reading of nature. So, I'm issuing you a direct mindfulness challenge inspired by our source material. Take just a single piece of food you eat today and observe it intensely for 30 seconds. Really do this. Before you eat that apple or that walnut, look closely at it. Focus on its color, its texture, its smell. And in that moment, think about how many different systems, how many mindless and lifeless causes in the universe had to come together and work flawlessly just to deliver that food to you. Just 30 seconds of this kind of awareness has the power to completely shift your perspective on the world. Let's conclude our explainer with this really powerful thought. The voice of the trees doesn't reach the ear, but rather an attentive heart. Whose silent language of disposition will you try to read today? Because, as we've explored, the nature surrounding us isn't silent at all. It's constantly speaking through a magnificent language of action, revealing a grand design. The question is simply whether we're tuning into the right frequency to listen. I really hope this explainer has opened a new window for you to hear that hidden language. Thanks so much for joining me. Keep being curious and keep reading the miracles all around you.